This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Parshas HaChodesh. The fourth of the Dalet Parshas, the fourth and last of the Dalet Parshas, Parshas HaChodesh. And that's the last one that's in the closest proximity to Pesach. And that is the first mitzvah, Parshas HaChodesh. Kiddush HaChodesh is the first mitzvah that was given to Gans Klal Yisrael. Klal Yisrael's first mitzvah. As we know, Parashas, we begin to learn the Torah, Parashas, and Rashi brings down the Medrash, Shomer of Yitzchak, that really the Torah should have started with HaChodesh Zelachem, because that's the first mitzvah. Why to start with Parashas? Starts with Parashas to show that everything came from the Rebbeinu Shalom. But it should have started with HaChodesh Zelachem because that was the first mitzvah that was given to Klal Yisrael. And that begs the question, why was that the first mitzvah given to Klal Yisrael? Of all the Taryag mitzvahs, why Kiddush HaChodesh? Why is that the first mitzvah to Klal Yisrael? One would think that there are so many other mitzvahs that would be so more fundamental or pressing, but that's the first mitzvah. Why is that the first mitzvah? The pasuk says in Parshas Boy, Vayemer Hashem el Moshe vel Aaron be'eretz Mitzrayim leimar. Why does it say be'eretz Mitzrayim? Of course it was be'eretz Mitzrayim. We know that they're in Mitzrayim. The whole Parshas Shmois, we know we're talking in Eretz Mitzrayim. HaChodesh hazeh lachem rosh chodashim. Rishon hu lachem l'chodshei hashana. HaChodesh hazeh lachem, it says HaChodesh hazeh lachem, then it says Rosh Chodashim, and again it repeats Rishon hu lachem l'chodshei hashana. So there's a repetition of the Chodesh. The Chodesh Nisan is a Chodesh Zelachem Rosh Chodashim, it's the Rosh Chodesh. And again it says Rishon. You know it's Rosh Chodesh. We know it's Rosh Chodesh. Why does it repeat and say Rishon? And why does it repeat and say Lachem? We know that the Umas Oilam, their calendar is based, it's a solar calendar. It's based on the sun. And our calendar is a lunar calendar. It's based on the cycle of the moon. And the Sforim say part of the remez of that is that Umas Oilam are under the Koichos HaTeva, the laws of nature, which can't be changed, the fixed laws of nature, and they cannot rise above that. And that's merumas in the sun, and because the way the sun appears, sometimes it's cloudy, sometimes it's not, but the sun itself, the appearance of the sun itself doesn't change, whereas the appearance of the moon is constantly changing. It waxes and wanes. The beginning of the month, you can hardly see it. The middle of the month, the full moon, and then it starts to diminish again. It's constantly changing, and that's Klal Yisrael. They're not fixed. They're not under the rigid forces of Teva, but they have the power to change the Teva, to change the world, to rise above. Klal Yisrael has the power to go beyond the keichos of Teva. They have a power of ischachus, like the moon has a power of ischachus. It seems to be that it's disappearing and suddenly it rises again. And that's Klal Yisrael. Klal Yisrael has that power of ischachus, of renewal, like the moon, of renewal, of change, of overcoming and rising above the kaichos, the forces of Teva. And that's why we count from it's a lunar calendar, because that's the essence of Klal Yisrael. HaChodesh hazeh lachem. It's a Rishon. The Chodesh hazeh lachem, it's a Rishon, and it's to you. This month, Nisan, is the first of the months. And it's yours, meaning you have the ability to fix the months. And you have the ability to change. And the world will be governed according to what you do. And if you declare that it's Echad B'Tishrei, If you declare that it's Rosh Hashanah, then in Shemayim it will be Rosh Hashanah. And the Yom Adin will be then. And if you declare that today is not Rosh Hashanah, then there won't be Yom Adin today. The Chagim are days where we're nidain on different things, nidain on Mayim, nidain on Paris, etc. The world is governed, and the produce and what grows and how things grow. And Parnasa, they're governed around the cycle of the months and the Chagim, and the Chagim are based on what you do, what Klal Yisrael does. And based on how they set the months, that will influence the world. And it will change the Sidrei HaTeva. Vayomer Hashem al Moshe v'Aaron be'eretz Mitzrayim. They were in Eretz Mitzrayim, the land of Teva. They were in the Memtes Shari Tova Lamer, said B'nai Yisrael. This is your month, it's a new month. And it's a Rishon L'chum, it's new. It's a first. It's a change. It's going to change. Now you have the ability to rise above the Memtes Shari Tuma. You have the ability now to change and to break away from the mazolas and the kaichas of the teva of Mitzrayim, what you were around. In Mitzrayim, you're in Mitzrayim, but the first mitzvah that's given to Klal Yisrael, this is the first mitzvah because now you have to break away. You're not part of the nations. You're not part of the forces of teva. This is Klal Yisrael. This is Klal Yisrael. Klal Yisrael is different. Klal Yisrael can change the teva, can rise above the teva. It's not meshubed to teva, to nature. Klal Yisrael is unique and different. It's lachem, it's yours. Rabbi Shalom says, the Medrash says that till now, the world, the creation was all in my hands. Now it's lachem. Now you have, we're so to speak, shutfim, you have the ability now. Rishon lachem, it's yours. You have the ability now to be kaveh teva, to create the world, to change the world. And perhaps that's the deeper meaning, and Rabbi Yitzchak says that the Torah should have started off with HaChodesh Hazel Lachem, because that's the first mitzvah that was given to Klal Yisrael. In fact, there are other mitzvahs. There were mitzvahs that preceded that. There was Puravu and the mitzvah of Milah, but this was the first mitzvah that was given to Yisrael. Perhaps the deeper meaning is, why are we talking about Bereshis, what the Ribbono Shel Olam created? The creation of the world that was created. Our purpose in the world right now is to live in this world and to change this world and to better this world. So the first mitzvah should have been given to them should be HaChodesh Lachem, because that indicates and that shows that we can change this world. We're not subject to the forces of Teva. We're not subject to the forces of nature, of the Memtes Shari Tzuma, and we can change and influence the world and change the world, and that really is our mandate. That's what we're here for. We're here to change ourselves, to better ourselves. We're here to influence the world, to change the world, to better the world. Rabbi Hashem created this world. Now, this is the world that's here. Now, you change it. You make it better. You elevate yourselves. You elevate yourselves as individuals, as a nation, and you change this world. And you make this world into a better world. In the Ruchnius, in the Torah sense, you make it into a better world. And that's our mission. And we're coming before Pesach, the time when that really was the beginning, the Rishon. That was the beginning. The beginning of our creation as a nation, the beginning of breaking away from the force of the koiches of the Teva and Tuma, the Memtes Shari Tuma, the beginning of Kabbalas HaTorah, and changing ourselves and changing the world. And this is the beginning. Let's seize this opportunity. Let's understand the opportunity. Let's internalize it. Let's be cognizant of our mission. and let's go forward. With this Yom Tov, with all the Yom Tovim, let's fulfill this mission, changing, elevating ourselves, the world, and witness the ultimate elevation and change and Ashrot Shechina B'Vias Goyal B'Mhera B'Yameinu Amen.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.